Cashify. I would have made this video anyway, but this video is dedicated to you because I believe you have at least one of the two errors I am about to describe. But I don't mean it as an insult. I think most people have both of these errors in incredible, great magnitudes of certainty. And yours is rather thin, and so thin as to be transparent. I think it might be made crystalline and hard, but maybe it is just a soap bubble. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's just two errors I think we've had for thousands and thousands of years, probably longer than we've been speaking. I wouldn't be surprised. But at least a lot longer than we've been writing down our history and our notes about our ideas. The first error is the error of dualism. As I say, to you are very close to what's going on here, but kept out of it, I think, a little bit. I think you want to not be a dualist. But I didn't say this was the one. Instead, I'll use somebody from the free will debate that was saying we don't really have free will, and he was listing all of the things that produce us, the DNA, our senses and the distortion that goes on, the neurological activity, right, the chemistry and physics. But see, all of those things are us. When you say that we're a product of nature, then that automatically assumes and frames the debate as though we're something separate from nature. Now, in your case, you're talking about how we're basically deluded by the stream of perceptions. And the source, I don't know what it's the source of. When you say the source to me in some grand way, I think, oh yeah, the source of all knowledge, you mean? You mean the fount of perceptions? Yeah, there it is, the source. But you're saying the fount is an illusion. But isn't it us? So we are illusion. So to face our reality would be to face that illusion, because that is us, and that we're all that is. But that's not really, doesn't seem to be what you're saying. So you might wonder if subtly some dualism is getting in there. Do you think we're the product of something? No. So that it's only possible to misinterpret what we see. There isn't illusion per se, there's misinterpretation. There's always some amount of misinterpretation. You can call that illusion when you don't admit that you misinterpret. If you admit you misinterpret, then it's just misinterpretation. The other error is the error of being, thinking that we are something. Because we are systems, and we break down into systems, our organs, and our organs break down into systems of tissues, and the tissues into systems of cells, and the cells into systems of chemicals, and the chemicals into systems of atoms, and the atoms into systems of elementary particles, and the elementary particles into systems of quarks, and the quarks into systems of energy, fungible energy, and everything is energy. And what is interesting about energy is it never stands still. It's a wave. It's moving. It's motion. So it turns out that motion, we always thought there were things first, and they were in motion second. Ironically, there's in motion first, and things are just statistical collections of the most elementary parts that are in motion. So everything is in motion, so there is no being. And as I've used in the past, a good way to figure this kind of thing out, to get past where we're still stuck on this, is think in the past, where have we gotten by this? Now, if you happen to know calculus and why it was created and the value of it in physics, then you can imagine when they thought that a line was made of a series of points. And they tried to do math that way. They had ways to add up infinite amounts of points. They could not get the math they needed for Newtonian physics out of that. Right? But when they broke it down into line segments, they could. You could take the area under one curve can be gotten with an integral, and that can have a material quantity related to what the graph is charting. And imagine why you take that step forward, and then do it when you're judging people. Don't judge a person as a point, a thing, a location. A person's an interval. There are a whole spread of possible states. Okay. You know, think, are we the product? Are we the product of society? Are we the product of DNA? Are we the where do we stop? Now, if I is this conscious little conscious part, well, we know that's not even the whole mind. We all the time where it's revealed there were things that must have been in our mind that we didn't know. It must have already been there, like a memory or something. Now, on the other hand, we can make those conscious, and yet there's looks to be like areas that are a little bit difficult to make conscious. Like we know our nervous system controls the heartbeat, and we can kind of influence it. But to actually call it directly conscious, well, yeah, but not consciously willed. But you get into gray areas. So it looks like that stretches off. And yet the word I doesn't necessarily have to be the part of me that is thinking consciously. It also means, out to my skin, out to my edge of this system. I'm identifying this system. A thing is an approximation. It's a name for a system. When you have statistically enough of these moving bits of particles, all of this motion in a system, you could call it a thing because it acts as a system, as a single thing. You can attribute qualities to it as a whole. But really, it's always a system. So there's no thing in itself. There's how the system works. There's its internal relationship to itself, and there's its relationships externally. So my conscious neural part, you know, I am a part. I mean the word I as, the system that I'm a part of, out to the skin. But it doesn't stop at the skin, right? Because I'm radiating heat, so there's warm air around me. I'm affecting my environment. I'm building a home, and then I'm living in this dwelling. So I'm building an environment, and then I'm in my environment. So my influence goes out into the environment. I am a part of many, many systems. And the word I, can mean any system of which I am a part. It can't mean a system of which I am not a part. Enlightenment is seeing that you are part of every system, but you're not directly as close of a part. I breathe air that Isaac Newton breathed, connects me physically to the UK where the air was when he breathed it. But that doesn't mean I have more connection to the UK than somebody that's in there that also has that connection, plus a million others also walked on the ground and so on. So we can relate. We cannot know in and of itself, but we can relate. And through these relationships, we have a great system. It's fairly easy to see how at least the whole planet is a system. It's also easy to see that, yes, there are thresholds of reduction. The blueprint for the DNA has something to do with the biology and genesis of the animal. It breaks down into further parts which seem to have other impacts that add up to being possible to have DNA, but there are thresholds. So for example, the identity of us, I think it's hard to claim that any person, no matter how enlightened, could have a feeling of identity with much more than the planet Earth, maybe the solar system. But see, we don't know enough about the other planets to claim that feeling of unity. So even of the planet Earth, it's hard to actually claim unity. You could say unity in principle if I had enough time to live, but you'd actually have to learn enough. So you can really have unity with things you're interacting with, and that can spread out these days very far and even circle the globe, if not go to every bit. And it's your relationship to all of these things within all of these spheres of shared identity that defines you. There is no essential thing in itself. And many times people have this problem of the error of being. In so many ways, they believe that they are. And they think